case you guys haven't heard, Jay Powell actually is talking with lawmakers right now, basically just kind of going over the same thing that we've said all along about how, there's still issues with getting the economy back up and running. And a lot of people are arguing that inflation is still going to become a serious issue. And so that's why we're seeing a lot of choppiness right now, right? I mean, we're looking at, we saw the CPI numbers for the month of June. They're up 5.4% from this time last year. And so expectations were around 5%. And some people are still trying to spin this narrative that inflation is going to see, we're going to see this just like we saw the 70s. And the people that are saying this are the people that lived through the 70s. So I think they're just having some PTSD about the whole thing. And it makes no sense. You would think they'd just look at the numbers and really understand that the things that are going up in price aren't going to do that forever. And I mentioned yesterday, I talked about this, about how car sales have gone up 10%. That made up a third of the CPI numbers that we saw yesterday. A third. I mean, that's insane. And if anybody thinks that the used car sales are going to stay this high, they are also insane, Fat Man Zoom. So I think that, while people are reacting to these CPI numbers and think that inflation is just going to run rampant because the Fed's not doing anything, it doesn't make any sense to me when you break the numbers down. I mean, as I said, you look at the inflation numbers, and a third of it's made up by used car sales. You take out food and oil or energy costs, and the CPI numbers comes in at 4.5%. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, food costs are going to come down. A lot of this stuff is just temporary until we catch up on supply. And that's really what it boils down to. This is basic economics. It's not really anything that's going to cause serious long-term issues. Once we get people back to work and get jobs going, the supply issues are going to go away. And that's what Jay Powell's been talking about today. And for the last 6 months, it seems like every time they want to fight him, there's statistics and information that proves him right. And when we saw the non-farm payrolls roll in last week, just kind of continues to prove his narrative that things are moving a little bit slower than a lot of people might think, especially when it comes to the job, filling the jobs side of things. And so, I don't know, I just think that this is nothing but noise at this point, and it makes zero sense as to why anybody would be selling any of their equities. Who knows, for the foreseeable futures. I just don't know why you would want to sell at this point.